Well, welcome everybody to the Pathways Facebook Live studio. I have a fantastic guest joining us tonight. I hope everybody's enjoying this beautiful evening. Stop enjoying the evening and watch us, okay? This is what's happening. So I started speaking to the gentleman, Carlos Macedo, who's coming on tonight, about investments. So this guy he's a VC from Brazil. He comes from the investment world, and Pathways is seeking investment and getting ready to move into our global expansion phase of our business. And Carlos has been a big help. As I was working with Carlos, when I first started to work with him, he was this tense guy, very financially driven. No, I'm kind of kidding. But now he wasn't nearly as relaxed as he is now. So he decided to go through the process, and he's going to talk about all of that. You know how it is for these investment guys. It's just so much tension, so much stress that they have to go through on a daily basis that it takes a toll. And there isn't a lot of help in the world for these guys to be able to understand what's actually happening to their bodies and their systems as this is happening, and then how to counteract that, to be able to enjoy their lives. And the reality is before they get into the investment world, there's stuff from their childhood and from growing up that's actually affecting their ability to do their job. So that adds tension, stress, and anxiety. And so we address that, as well as what happened on that job. In that world, I guess, Carlos, you have to help me out with this, but the majority, at least 80% of the people that get into that world burn out before they're 40, 45.
Well,
that's high with tension.
It's certainly challenging. It's certainly something that eats at you, and it's very stressful, and you have to find ways to cope with it. And a lot of people cope by drinking. A lot of people cope by doing other things that damages their bodies. And the stresses have really, it's not as if I had this beautiful hair my whole life, right?
Yeah.
I actually had a lot of hair, and one of the ways that the stress manifested itself in me was from my hair falling out. And it's something that I don't have a way back. But thank goodness, after going through the process with you, I found a way back in other things, which are, I think, more important and more lasting.
I kind of missed it. You said it affected you how?
By my hair falling out, right?
Oh, your hair falling out.
Yeah.
Well, hasn't exactly helped me that much on my hair thing. Maybe my brother's bald, so yeah.
No, nobody in my family is really, but my hair started around here, and it just kept.
Oh, okay. I'm certainly not bald anymore now.
There you go. Well, you got to Pathways got to you, or the newer empowerment got to you much earlier than it did to me, so it kind of might have prevented that from happening in certain degrees.
So anyway, why don't you tell us, I guess, your side of the story, and let's start with, what made you think, hey, maybe I want to try this, and then let's get into what your experience is.
So, as Jeff said, I spent a career working in finance, essentially, Wall Street and all that. I worked for, I'm originally from Brazil. So in Brazil, I worked in, investment banking. I worked in venture capital. I worked as a research analyst on Wall Street for literally, well, it's not Wall Street anymore. It used to be Broad Street, but now it's over in the world, close by the World Financial Center in Battery Park City at Goldman Sachs for 11 years. And
you have an MBA from Stanford, right?
I do have an MBA from Stanford.
That alone is hard enough. Forget the.
It was challenging to get in. It was challenging to get in, as it always is, and it was challenging. It was very rewarding to be there. I can say in retrospect that I might have gone a little bit too early in my career. I went 2 years out of college. I recommend people that are watching this and still have a chance to go to an MBA to get a little bit more experience, because it pays off to have a little bit more of a background when you go in there. But ultimately, it kind of, this drive to succeed guided me through my career, and that pushed me, and it pushed me in many ways, right? It pushed me to try to do more than everybody else, to always, the rat race, so to speak, but always see what everybody else is doing, and the pressure that brings and the tension that brings to the table affects in many ways. I got married. I have 3 kids, and when you try to balance all those things, it also brings tension, right? It's not easy, and I always felt like I had a very strong drive to be successful, and that I think worked with me in a negative way, because I also kind of asked of myself more than maybe I was willing to give, or demanded that I had all the success in the world right now, right? And when I met Jeff, and he was looking for ways to raise funding for Pathwaves, I thought his project was amazing, but I had no firsthand experience, and so I relied on looking at testimonials on the Pathwaves website, and I thought those testimonials were very, very powerful. The story they tell, it hit a chord. And this, again, it's not as if I spent my whole life dealing with this and didn't look for help. I did probably over 10 years of psychoanalysis, on a fairly consistent basis. At one point, I used to go twice a week, basically to get my issues sorted out, and issues that I had from my childhood, from my adolescence. And when I got there, I was like, okay, I'm relatively, I'm not going to say I'm 100% cured, because I don't think that necessarily exists in the sense that psychoanalysis tries to give it to you. But I do pretty well. I can manage my emotions. Obviously, I can do better, but I think I'm okay. And then when I saw the testimonials from people that went through the neuroempowerment sessions, I was struck by just the amount of change that these people had gone through, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I got an assessment, and I recommend everyone get an assessment at least. It's one of the things that Jeff is hands-on, and he does really well. And he came with my assessment, and well, first, during the assessment, you get a little bit of a mind massage, and I recommend that to everyone. And I mean, the experience there is unique, and I felt like I was floating on cloud 9 for, I don't know, for a couple of hours, and it's amazing. But then when Jeff came and delivered my assessment to me, and he nailed me. He got exactly everything that was my process that I spent years talking over, with my shrink, and years trying to debating, and that I had thought I had a grip on, but obviously came back to haunt me time and again, because you learn coping mechanisms, but it's not really addressed. And I was like, when I went into the assessment, I started hearing Jeff talk to me about all the different things that he saw in my brainwaves, and I couldn't believe how right he was. And it was like, I said, if this guy can see what's going on through all my different processes in my brain, from looking at 45 minutes of my brainwaves, there has to be something here, right? There has to be, and you add that to all the different testimonials that I saw. It's like, I got to go through this process. So kind of that's what tipped the scale for me. I mean, I was already positive, because I'd spoken to Jeff many occasions about what he did and how it worked, and I understood a little bit of the science behind it, and understood what he was trying to do. And I saw, I basically watched all the testimonials, but then when I got to experience, the power that, the actual assessment there, and the way that he was able to get exactly what was going on through my head. And he told me, look, we can do something about that. Come to Pathwaves, get the treatment. We can do something about that. And that's what opened the door. And I'm so happy that I did it.
So, I really like what you were saying, that, you went through all that psychotherapy, and what you really learned was how to cope. Yes. And the underlying issues don't really go away. It's just when they come up, you're like, oh yeah, I know what that is. But your body still wants you to do stuff about it, right? I mean, it isn't like just knowing what it is and knowing, how to reason with it. I mean, how much time do you got to spend doing that? And, and when I was explaining to you that process, that I just described, that you keep going through, and why, right? And what areas of your life were causing that. all I'm doing is reading one neural report that we take. And, it's kind of amazing that I can do that.
It's mind-boggling.
We've created a new science.
It is.
We've done that by correlating the neural activity with the psychosocial history, the psychoanalysis history of literally thousands of people. Yeah. And that's why I'm able to be so accurate. I mean, I've literally looked at like 5,000 of those things and talked to people. In the beginning, it was more finding out what it meant, and now it's telling you what it means. And I'm always delighted when the person's like, "Wow, how do you know that?"
No, it's super precise, and I mean, again, I don't think it was much more than I expected. I don't think anybody, and again, Jeff, it's not as if we knew each other deeply and have been, friends for 10 years or something like that. So that you can kind of, remember all the occasions that we spoke and the different times when, I saw that behavior, understand where you're coming from. Oh, you told me that story once. No, we had met maybe 5 or 6 times within a professional context and shared some information about the company. And, and then, boom, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's great. And so you came through, what did you do, 8 or 10 sessions? I don't remember.
10 sessions. And I went through the initial program, and again,
the customized 10.
Yes.
Okay.
And I went through.
Before we get into that, some people know what I'm talking about. We have different programs for different people, and based on what I see on that initial assessment, which is the neural mappings that we do through an EEG analysis, I recommend different paths for different people based on what they want. So I basically can, like I did with Carlos, show how the nervous system through our life is now affecting how we feel and function. And then I basically map out a path or a program to allow you to be in charge of changing how your nervous system is going to keep affecting how you feel and function. So you can really harness and tap into the function of the nervous system so that you can feel and function the way you want. And so we went through the customized. So when I say we have one program, which is we call basic training. And the basic training program is kind of a streamlined, every session is pretty close to the same for each person. And therefore it's a lot less money. So for people who aren't really quite ready to invest themselves, for the standardized program, for the customized program, we also have a cheaper version.
Yeah, and the expense, the time commitment is also significant in addition to the expense. But, from my experience, it was definitely worth it. It's something that it's impossible, I think, to go through your program and not become an advocate for it once you're gone, because it's such a powerful change that you can experience that to me it leaves such a lasting impression. And I think obviously if you keep on going and you do the mental gym sessions later, and you keep, it's kind of like going to a gym, as you say, right? You got to keep going to the gym in order to keep those mind muscles strong, right?
Once you build the 6-pack abs mentally, you want to keep them.
Exactly. But for me, the whole thing from the start, going through the sessions, it basically, just to explain, the process that I went through. You get the coaching when you get in to Pathways. You get an hour of coaching or half an hour of coaching, and they tell you what to expect for the day, what you should think about when you're going through the process and going through the neurofeedback and all that. And then you sit in the chair, they put the electrodes on your head, and luckily I don't have that much hair anymore, as I said, for the second time, so it wasn't that damaging to my hairdo. And then with the help of a coach, you kind of sit in the chair and they feed you the sounds, and you kind of meditate. And I hadn't really had a history of meditation. But it's funny because after the first 3 or 4 sessions, the way that the program works, I could meditate so deeply while I was doing it, and even when I wasn't doing it. That's what Jeff talks about. It teaches you how to kind of do it. And my wife meditates and has meditated for a while, and she can get pretty deep when she meditates. And I think I was going as deep as her without having any really previous experience in doing it, just because I think the whole system just accelerated my the learning process for meditation so much during those first sessions.
Well, speaking of your wife, it went so well for you that you went home and said, honey, you got to do this.
Well, I think it was the other way around, Jeff. What really happened was I would get home and there were times, I mean, I'm not going to lie. There was, I think, one session that it really hit me, right?
You're addressing some deep issues. So when they come out, you can be a little tense.
Yeah, no, I was like, it really hit me. But then I went to sleep and I woke up the next day and I was feeling like $1 million. And then the other sessions I got out and I was always feeling so great. And a couple of weeks went by and my wife was like, after we were done, my wife's like, what voodoo did Jeff do to you? Because you're different. Something happened. You're lighter. And the fact is that I felt lighter. I mean, I felt like there was this big weight on my shoulders that I had been carrying around for my whole life. And all of a sudden it's not there anymore. And it's the weight, you don't even know it's there until it's gone. And that to me is the most incredible thing, because the feeling of liberty that you get. And ultimately you're I think for myself, I was managing that, that anxiety all the time, right? You kind of try to manage. And I was probably devoting a part of my brain to managing it. And by the time that I got done with it, my brain was free, so I got more productive. I could sleep better, that's for sure. I mean, I think I hit my head on the pillow now, and I'm asleep. And I was always a fast sleeper. It would take me 5 minutes to fall asleep. I'm asleep in less than 2 minutes, like a minute and a half, and I'm gone. And so my wife, when I came, she started seeing me with just this different perspective. And she's like, I got to go through it. I got to do it. I'm like, yes, you have. You have to go through it. You should do it. And so she went and she did it, and she experienced the exact same thing. It was life-changing for her as well.
We have Carlos's wife's name is Julia, and if you go to our YouTube channel, so you can go to our website, pathwayslife.com, and scroll to the bottom of any of the pages you go to, and there's the links to all of our social media. And you can link on the YouTube little button, and it'll take you to our YouTube channel. And in the YouTube channel, there's a category called playlist. And if you hit playlist, one of the choices of the playlist is Julia's basic training journey with Pathways. And so that's more of the standardized program, the basic training program, which Julia went through. And so you can actually see it happening, the progression of the sessions and what she was going through. Right now, we have posted up to, so it's 10 visits, and we've posted the first 8. The next 2 will be posted over the next couple of weeks. And you can really get the whole journey through that. It's kind of a nice little thing we put together there. And so I really appreciate you sending your wife and her agreeing to do that, because
I'm a big advocate. I'm trying to send everyone I know, everyone that I think can benefit from it. And and I think really anyone can benefit. And as in trying to help, Jeff raise funds so that he can expand and, as he said, help the whole world get better. I always talk to him, like, of course, what you do for people that have, anxiety issues, or that have, sleep problems, or maybe they have other conditions that are psychological in nature that might be addressed. It's obviously invaluable, right? Because you can address them in a way that is not very time consuming, has, on a relative cost basis, relative to the other treatments, is not bad. Doesn't involve drugs, doesn't involve any other real side effects, and address them really well and resolve them many times. But in addition to that, and this is where I always talk to Jeff, it's people like me, people that that are high performers, right? And I don't want to boast that I'm a high performer, but that we're in high performing situations. I'll put it that way. That we're subject to a lot of anxiety and stress, but also need to perform at their best. And I think what the treatment does is it frees up your brain to perform at its best. And this, again, for people that are in that high performance environment, it's even more valuable. And so I think that, I talk to friends of mine that still work in Wall Street, or that work in some other capacity in the finance industry, and I tell them, you got to go through this. This is a great program. It will help you work better, help you be more productive. It'll help you not only be more productive, but be happier as you are more productive, which, it's the best of both worlds.
So, I don't know if you know this, we have rolled out, you're just talking about that anxiety and that stress. Right now, at the end of 2020, everybody has an extra anxiety and stress. We have rolled out the 2021 program. It's a quick little path. It's 6 visits for $2,021, 2021. To help our nervous system. You keep saying that it helps your brain function better, and it actually helps your entire nervous system, right? And, yes, it definitely helps the brain by helping the entire nervous system. And so what we're helping everybody do is flush 2020 out of our nervous system so we can be clear and ready for the new year. And it's the 2021 Pathways program. So all those people you're talking to about coming in, they can get a little, appetizer sample, because it's geared to clearing out the last year. It's not geared to fixing issues in childhood and those kinds of things that most of us have, because no one taught us how to reconcile that. And that, those childhood things actually affect us our whole lives, which I guess we were, talking about. And so let your friends know, the 2021 package of Pathways is a must-do. It's a great Christmas present for all the guys that have everything. It's going to help you play golf better. It's going to help you be better at home in every way. I don't want to say anything like that.
True, and I think it's easy. When you look at the owner of the business and a person that is working with the owner of the business, talking about it. But as I said, I think you almost owe yourself to get an assessment, because again, the assessment is there. It's the cost is negligible if you come in and get an assessment and you see and you listen to the assessment and you hear what I heard. Right? You feel that it captures who you are. Then it's obvious that there's something there that can help you. And whether it is to anger issues, sleep, anxiety, or just, I want to play, I want to, lower my scoring in golf by 3 strokes, right? Or something like that. And I think the assessment is something that anyone can get and should get, because it just shows the power of the whole thing.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for your comment about the assessment being so powerful. So just so everybody knows, the assessment is normally $400. We are adding another report so that it's going to be $700. And right now, as part of all the specials we're running, the assessment's only $320. It's 20% off of the $400. So, like Carlos is saying, and that's good until January 15th. So, all those people you're talking to, tell them to hurry up and come in, because after that, it's going to be $700.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it definitely is worth it. It's one of the a transforming experience because it led me to go through the whole program.
It also kind of answers a lot of those questions about, that's why I had this anxiety my whole life, right? And that's where this came from. It's not something wrong with me. It was a situation that happened a long time ago. And it makes perfect sense. I had that tension or whatever, and we stop kind of blaming ourselves, which kind of takes some weight off of us, right? Because you're, like you were saying, you're lighter and you're happier. And that's one of the reasons why that assessment is so valuable, because for the first time, I'm like, that's why I can't sleep. My mother beat me too much, So anyway, yeah. All right, well, great. I don't see, any questions or anything on our comments. I just want to thank everybody for dialing in. And Carlos, any parting thoughts or statements?
I would say also that what Jeff has here is unique. He probably is the person who's seen the most brainwaves in the world, or certainly top 5, just from the sheer amount of people that he's seen over the last 10 years running Pathwaves. And I am a firm believer that what he has here is unique to the point that we're going to get it out there, and it's going to be something that's going to change the world. So, get on the ground floor, so to speak. And you can say that you got on way back when, and you were one of the first ones to do it, because I definitely can tell that if you get your life, if you can get Jeff to help get your life on track, ultimately it's up to you. But if you get Jeff to help you get your life on track, there's so much more to living than being anxious or not being able to sleep or all the other things that afflict us on a daily basis. And we can leave all that behind, and neuro empowerment can help us do it.
Yes, you can become nearly empowered in 2021.
That's it.
Exciting. And hey, it could be a good investment too. Since you're an investment guy, you can tell them great opportunity to have a great return on your investment.
Well, it's for certain, if you become more productive, you can generate more income, and so the money you spend will come back to you many times over, or can.
Awesome. Great. All right. Well, thanks so much. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.